Welcome back to Limitless Nerd. We are here on one of our last episodes leading up to Rebel Scum Con 2026. And I am so happy to have Spencer from the Virtual Cantina Network. And we're going to talk all about what an amazing weekend we already know that Rebel Scum Con is going to be. Spencer, thank you for being here, man. How are you?
I'm great, Cameron. How are you? Thank you very much for having me on your show. I'm very honored to be here and very excited to talk all things, Star Wars with you.
Yes. Before we start talking about Virtual Cantina and Boonta and Rebel Scum Con, I just want to know from you, where did your journey as a Star Wars fan begin? Obviously, with everything you're doing, Star Wars is a huge part of your life, but what was kind of the origin of that?
So I like to say that I was a Star Wars baby because I was actually born in '76. So I'm coming up on my 50th personally, and Star Wars coming up on its 50th. So my introduction was the Kenner figures
Yep.
initially. But I distinctly remember going to see Empire Strikes Back in the theaters with my father when it came out in 1980. And I remember this because the scene on Echo Base where Chewbacca is welding the Falcon,
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to singe his fur or burn himself. So I
Yeah.
started to cry about Chewie going to hurt himself. My father taking me out of the theater saying I'm embarrassing him. So kind of a traumatic experience remembering Star Wars, my first live movie experience, but Empire is now my all-time favorite Star Wars and all-time movie, period. Like, love that. So that's really where my love for Star Wars is. I mean, I remember my 7th birthday having the AT-AT walk across my living room floor, and it was hardwood, so it clanked, which is
Yeah.
pretty awesome. When you had to put like 20 D cell batteries in there back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So that's really like my origin story. But I've always had a love of Star Wars. I was always known as that Star Wars guy, even if you didn't talk about it back in the day because you'll get your ass kicked or anything of
Yeah.
that nature. But I mean, I remember when the special editions came out and I was in college. Uh, they did 24-hour showings back then.
Yeah.
So I went to midnight showings with my friends and then go to like a 4 a.m. And I remember renting a hotel room. And ever since then, opening night, I've gone because since they don't do the midnight showings, I go to the first showing I can go on the Wednesday or the Thursday if I don't get, invited to like something.
Yeah.
Um, but I distinctly remember the atmosphere of episode 1 when you see a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away come across the screen and anybody who had a lightsaber threw them up in the air. It was like that scene in Fanboys. Um,
Yeah.
but seriously, it was like I was like, wow, this is like being at Rocky Horror. Like this is
Yeah.
like this is hardcore. Um, so my love has been as long as I can remember that Star Wars has been a passion of mine, but never really came to I want to say fruition until maybe 2016 ish. But I've always been a massive fan no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm in a similar boat. Star Wars. I don't have memory without it. Like I got shown the original trilogy quite literally when I was 2, so I have there is no time in my brain where Star Wars wasn't there. So yeah, I mean, and you have turned a passion for you obviously have a passion for Star Wars personally, but you have turned that into a passion project that is the Virtual Cantina Network. So for the people listening or watching this that may not know, what's kind of the crash course or the history of Virtual Cantina Network?
So the Virtual Cantina Network is the owners of the world's largest Star Wars Celebration fan page, which has 103,000 members worldwide as of today, as we're taping right now. So we've actually been around since about 10 years now, just about May the 4th, right after London Celebration 2016. But we didn't start really taking off until Orlando 2017. Since then, we have grown exponentially, not only uh, having our own podcasting network, which is on YouTube at youtube.com/ @ Virtual Cantina Network. But we also do several events throughout the year. Not only just meetups at other cons, just hey, quick, let's take a quick photo by the 501st booth, or let's go meet for a meal or a beer. We'll meet up and grab a picture. But or doing our bigger events such as our Boonta Eves, which started off as just a celebration event and now has spawned, if you will. Um, and we're working towards actually eventually going to doing 4 a year, 1 a quarter, around the country or the world if we can pull that off. But it's possible because we did that last year. So it's really become a hub for fans, and also I want to say a community and a home for Star Wars fans without an outlet to call their own. The one thing I love about it is that we're all adults who enjoy the same thing, no matter where you're coming from in Star Wars, whatever your origin story is, wherever your entry is, it's different. But that's your favorite Star Wars, and that is okay. We accept you for what you like. We might not agree with you, but we'll be adults about it. And the fact is that we'll harness your love to the point when we get to Celebration. It's a family reunion. We're hanging out with people that we meet at Rebel Scum Con, at New York Comic Con, ICC Con, Mega Con, whatever con we go to, just because we love hanging out with our members. I mean, some of my favorite people on this planet are VCN members, and I have normie friends who live within an hour to 2 hours away from me, and I would rather spend time and money at Logan Airport to go see them than to go
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
I mean, that's a great thing also to talk about, the love for Star Wars and the Rebel Scum crew is
yeah.
that the weekend of Rebel Scum this year is Fan Expo Boston in downtown Boston, as well as Terrificon at Mohegan Sun, which is an hour the opposite direction. So I have two massive two massive conventions the same weekend within driving distance of my home, and I would rather be in Frisco, Texas.
Yeah. And I mean, I I joined the VCN Facebook group. I feel like way later than most people. I've only been in it for a little over a year, and I mean, it the community aspect that you talk about is so strong. It doesn't matter what got you into Star Wars, how long you've been a fan, what your favorite things are. It doesn't matter because we all love Star Wars, and that is enough.
That's all you really need. Because the thing is that everybody's origins, like I said, everybody's origin story is different, and we want to cultivate that, and we want you to feel like, wow, I have a place and I have a voice, and I can meet people just like me that I never thought were out there, and it all came about because I was personally looking for my place,
Yeah,
you know, and I was looking for the place that I felt the most comfortable.
yeah,
So, in retrospect, yeah, I kind of built the place that I would have liked to have hang out with,
yeah,
and it's taken a life of its own to the point where I would give back when 2017 came around. And I had decided that I was going to go to Celebration. I actually decided watching the YouTube clips, the live stream at my cubicle at work from
yeah,
London.
yeah,
And my boss coming back and, I'm flicking down so he doesn't see I'm watching YouTube or anything of that nature. But I said to my wife, I'm like, I don't care where it is, as long as it's on the continental United States, because I didn't hear about Celebration before. One of
yeah,
my mentors said, oh, I got comped. I'm going there, and I'm like, wait, what is this thing? Like, I've never heard of it.
yeah,
And it turned out to be Orlando, which happened to be the 40th. And I started listening to podcasts and reading articles and Google searching and putting together my own list of things that I need to do to prep for this because I have anxiety. And, I want to make sure that I limited that as much as I possibly could. So I started putting it out there because I figured, if I have this issue, someone else has the issue as well.
sure.
So I started putting on this page. Now, I was not involved with the page when it first started. I was just a member. But anyway, I didn't know about the overnights because they did overnights for panels back in 2017.
Yeah,
And so I was like, the night before opening night, I'm like, I want to go for karaoke. I love karaoke. I've always loved karaoke. I have a background in theatrical arts as a director and a producer. So, I've always loved theater and
Yeah.
musicals and all that and performance as a director as well. Um, so I set up I just posted on the page, hey, I'm going to karaoke at Rising Stars, which is a live band karaoke bar in Universal. Does anyone want to meet me?
Yeah.
And then the admin of the group reached out to me and said, hey, we want to do a meetup. You've already set something up. Would you mind if we tacked on? And I was like, yeah, I have no problem, but I set this up already. So if you want this to be an official meetup, make me an admin and we'll be good.
Yeah.
I did the work. Like I was like,
Yeah.
if I did the work, if I did all the work for you, I'm not gonna just hand it to you.
Sure.
So that was really my start with what we did back at that time, and we've grown that brand really. That every celebration since 17, including London and Japan, has had a VCN event at it. And we've also done our special editions, which are basically at a different con.
Yeah.
We'll do a version of our celebration show like we did Rebel Scum last year, like we did ICC. We did a 3 in California in 24. So we've produced about, I would say, over the last 10 years, 10 events, and 5 of which have been special editions, and 5 of which we're coming up on Boonta 5 in LA next
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah.
it's been quite a journey, and I love hearing stories of members just like yourself who come in and just feel like they're part of a community, because I think that's the most important thing that we could provide more so than anything else we do.
Yeah. And I mean, you're talking about kind of building it as the place that you yourself were looking for. And I really had that kind of epiphany at Rebel Scum Con last year because, I have nerdy friends, sorta, but I didn't really have Star Wars friends.
Right.
And then last year at Rebel Scum Con just absolutely changed that. I've been a Star Wars fan for over 25 years, and I didn't think Star Wars could change my life anymore. And then it does, in a way that you're just not expecting at all. So what was it, because the group on Facebook is huge. So what was it like to just kind of slowly watch it blow up?
So I didn't really think about it really until we were getting close to London in 23, was it? Yeah, London was 23. Uh, and we were creeping in on 50,000 members. And I said to my team, because we started off as a 3-person group of admins to now having 25 people as of today in various departments of the
Yeah.
VCN. So I gave us lofty goals. Like we were like at 47,000 members going into London. And I was like, well, let's get to 50 by the end of the weekend. Let's try for 50,000. And we didn't hit 50,000 until the morning of day 1 of celebration. So we've already been in the country, in London, in England, for a little over a week at that point. Haven't done our Boonta and haven't, done whatever. By the time I got back to Logan Airport, we were 60,000 members. So over that 3-day span, we gained 10,000 members just then. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. Like, can we get, they were like, all right, let's try to get 100,000 by Japan. And we were, with a lofty goal, and we didn't come close to it. But after Rebel Scum Con, we beat 100,000.
Yeah.
So it didn't become a thing. It was kind of like, if you're a professional wrestling fan, it's like the Undertaker streak. You
Yep.
didn't think about those 20 years of him going undefeated
Yeah.
until it was like 20 years. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How has it been 20 years the Undertaker's been undefeated in WrestleMania?
For sure.
It was the same sort of epiphany. Now, I hope
Yeah.
there's not a Brock Lesnar out there out to break the streak, but still,
Yeah.
it was that kind of epiphany. Like, wait, how did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how you know. That's how you kind of. I feel like that's how you know it is so pure and so genuine and so authentic because you didn't even realize that it was happening until you were already there.
Right.
So it just the passion has created the growth, which I think and I told you this when we were kind of setting up you coming on the show. The passion that you guys have for whatever, and you're doing it unselfishly for the community.
It's the main thing. I mean, we want this to be about community, but also any major things we get, as far as the fandom is concerned, well, whether if we get a tour somewhere or anything of that nature, it's with the mind of how can we parlay this into something for the VCN and how the VCN can benefit from us. So it's not just like, oh, it's me and my, and my team, we're walking around Lucasfilm. Okay, great. Well, but what we can get out of that that's going to help the experience of the fans going into Celebration Week, or even just, because our goal is that there's a lot of celebration pages out there right now that die down after Celebration.
Sure.
We want the spirit of Celebration to go 24/7, 365. So we're in the mindset that we're going to keep that. So when we do a podcast, any of our podcasts could potentially be on the fan stage at Celebration. We're thinking that anything we do could affect something that we're doing at Celebration. Like Boonta at this point is a staple.
Yeah.
So at Celebration. For
Yeah.
Japan, we sold out in 4 minutes when tickets went on sale.
Yeah.
That was insane. We sold it. It took a day for us to sell it in London. So who knows what's going to be like for LA? Now, could it be 4 months? I don't know. We're back in the United States. Do I think we're going to be at least a day? I think it'll be at least a day. But I could be wrong in that scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I want to talk to you just a little bit about Celebration because I have never been to a celebration. LA will be my first celebration ever.
Will too, by the way.
And yeah.
I was talking to Will last night, and he said that was his first celebration in LA.
Yeah, me and Will have actually talked about that. But yeah, I mean, LA will be my first ever celebration, and I first heard about Celebration, oh gosh, probably it was early. I want to think I heard about Celebration probably like right around Revenge of the Sith, like Celebration 3, I think, was when I first kind of was made aware that this was a thing. And it's one of those things that it's been on my Star Wars bucket list ever since.
You get the bug. I'm flat out telling you right now, once you get bit by that Celebration bug, it doesn't matter where in the world that celebration is. You go. Like, I could tell you right now that when I went to Japan, yes, there was a language barrier, but once you got into the con, I felt like I was back in Chicago. I was back in Orlando because I ran into so many people that I have met over the last 10 years, just walking the halls, like going into panels. So it's like, there is nothing like Celebration. And there's honestly no con like Celebration at all, period. If you prep for Celebration the right way, every other con you go to, including New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con, are easy compared to Celebration.
Yeah. And you talk about prepping the right way. I'm curious, do you have just a couple rapid fire tips for people like me who are trying to prepare for their first ever celebration?
Absolutely. Now, just let you know is that I refine everything I do all the time because I'm learning tips all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been stuff that Tony Star Wars Sith has come up with that I'm like, ooh, that's a great idea. I'm stealing that and adding that to my arsenal of things. The first thing I always say is that you cannot do everything at Star Wars Celebration. There's just way too much to do. So what I recommend you do is start to research now.
Yeah.
What past celebrations have done, and talk to veterans like myself or members of the VCN who got a celebration about what you think when certain things are going to happen. Okay, we know that's going to be a 4-day celebration, but there's no panels day one.
Yeah.
Okay, so the main first panel, whether it's a Lucasfilm showcase or Starfighter panel or whatever, will be the first panel on Friday morning of celebration. If you're an autograph hound, start looking at prices. There's a great resource on Star Wars Autograph News, which is run by one of my business partners, Frank Rich, that has a list of every guest at Celebration since Celebration 1 and their prices. So you can get an idea. Now, another idea I would also say is if you go to any other con out there, add 15%.
Yeah.
We joke it.
Yeah.
Exactly. We joke it's called celebration tax.
Yep.
So if you want to get like a Hayden or Ewan,
yeah,
and they're at Fan Expo Dallas, go to Fan Expo Dallas.
Yeah.
Trust me on that. Save Celebration for the people that you absolutely need to get.
Diego anywhere else, yeah.
Diego showed up in Japan. That was his first time. Like, I have to get Diego. You know, Doug Chang and John Knoll did Japan. I had to get those guys because I don't know when I'm going to get them, in the United States. They did in London. They did the first ever dual Ahsoka photo op between Ashley and Rosario. And I swore to myself I was only going to do European guests in London. I had to get that photo op just because it was the first time ever, and I could say I got one of the first ones of that particular time.
Yeah.
But in your research, take a piece of paper and put 3 lines on it. You can put on it what I have to do, what I want to do, and what I want to do if I have time. And it's called the Rule of 3. And then every time when the schedule finally comes out, you're going to put down on each line at that time frame each of the Rule of 3.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get into the lotteries and you don't go to a panel and you don't get into the satellite, yes, you can also watch it on the Star Wars show stage because they do broadcast the main panel. But you might be in the vendor hall. You might be getting an autograph. You might be missing things. So if you have an A, B, and C idea, you're never going to have a bad celebration because you're doing what you want to do. And also some of the best times around celebration are after hours.
Yeah.
We're talking like the hotel bar. We're talking like events like, we're Boonta Eve in LA is going to be the night before celebration on Wednesday night, March the 31st. But there's going to be the 501st Bash. There's going to be #Cantina, which is an event that is based out of London that they've only done the last 2 London events, and they're finally bringing it to, the U.S. There might be a Mosh Isley.
Yeah.
These events that you want to go to, you could technically do stuff 24/7 if you want to. I don't necessarily recommend it, but the fact is that I recommend going to an event after hours because those are some of the other extra memories that you get. And you had what you saw at Boonta in Texas last year with the sabak, the specialty autograph sessions, talent that you didn't expect to be coming around and hanging out, that's what Boonta Celebration is like.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bring that around to other conventions to show the spirit of celebration and the fandom is alive and thriving anywhere you potentially go. So celebration is honestly what you make of it. You can make it as great or as horrible as you want it to be. And, people are going to complain no matter what, as we saw with the tickets.
Yeah. I mean, how many celebrations have you been to?
So technically, this is my 4th. No, technically this is my 5th. Technically. However, in 22, which was Anaheim, my brother let me know that he was getting married in Lake Como, Italy. Now, if anybody knows what Lake Como, Italy is, that's Naboo.
Yeah.
He's getting married Celebration weekend.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I said to my wife, like, I'm flying to LA early that week. I'm doing Boonta. And then after Boonta, I'm jumping on an Uber back to LAX to fly to Boston to pick her up, to fly to Milan to go to Lake Como for my brother's birthday. So my brother's wedding. So
Oh,
my
goodness.
excuse was I was in Naboo. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I can't be at Celebration. But I got to see everybody that I wanted to see
Yeah.
at Boonta.
Yeah.
So to me, I really didn't miss Celebration, and I was able to watch recaps and text with people, but I still had FOMO, but I didn't feel like I missed it. So LA will technically be my sixth celebration. I think I said that right. I'm not quite sure, but I've been going since 2017.
Yeah. Out of all of those celebrations, is there and this is going to be an impossible question, I'm sure, but is there a singular moment or memory that you have that just stands above all the rest?
Absolutely. The first thing I experienced at Star Wars Celebrations 2017 was the 40th anniversary panel, and bawling my eyes out when George Lucas and Harrison Ford and Peter Mayhew and John Williams all came on stage in that massive panel. And I'm like, the adage of, hey, Chewie, I'm home. That's exactly how I felt. I cried my eyes out, and it was to me, there's not been a panel, and I don't think, unless they pull something crazy for the 50th next year, there's nothing going to be like what we saw in Orlando in 17. There hasn't been for the 40th, and it was just a life that, like I said, that weekend was a life-changing experience for me that set the tone for the next 10 years of my life and even the future, because the work I've done with the VCN has affected my professional life as well in ways that I never thought I would ever do. And, I attribute it to Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know what they could possibly do for the 50th. I mean, I assume George Lucas and Harrison Ford will probably be on a 50th panel, probably Mark Hamill as well. But
That'd be my prediction.
I don't know what they could possibly do to top that 40th panel. I mean, I've seen clips, I've heard stories.
It's
Um,
legendary. It's little. There's not many panels out there you could say that are legendary, that are lore within the Star Wars fandom, and that
yeah,
40th anniversary panel is that's canon by itself.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the ones I hear about are that 40th anniversary panel. Another one I always hear about is the one where they announced that Clone Wars was coming back.
Yeah,
I heard that one, but yeah, I mean, I am so excited about Celebration. I'm nervous
it's good to be
about
nervous.
it, but with people like yourself and the rest of the VCN and people like Tony and people like Chris from Nerd Squadron, like I have so many people that I think I can go to with questions and get advice. I think I will be, I hope that I will be properly prepared.
You'll be prepared, and you'll realize that you are prepared, but you also realize at the same time, it's like, wow, I am underprepared at the same exact time. Like you'll go in feeling great and realize, wow, there was just so much more that I want to do, and there's so much more that I want to do the next time.
Yeah,
So celebration is amazing, but Rebel Scum Con to me is a mini celebration, and it's just fun. Like I said, I met Kentucky in person at San Diego Comic Con a couple of years ago, and this was after year one. We had been talking. They were trying to get me to year one, and it just didn't work out schedule wise. I had events and just other reasons. I just couldn't make it down to Texas. But I met him at San Diego Comic Con and met him and Josh and Bobby, and we hit it off. We hit it off very, very well, to the point where we were saying, how can we do something together that's going to be special? And we started talking then. And then a couple weeks later, it got rolling that we knew that we were going to come. We were going to year two. And then in Japan, I spent literally celebration weekend hanging out with Kentucky and his girlfriend.
yeah,
Like anywhere we went, they went with us, kind of scenario with all the VCNers. So it's just been absolutely great. And the Love of Celebration shows at Rebel Scum Con.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Celebration. We're talking about how exciting Celebration is going to be. There will be a Boonta event at Celebration, but before that, there will be a Boonta event at Rebel Scum Con year 3. What can you tell me about Boonta Texas 2?
So if you went to Boonta Texas 1 last year, you know that it's going to be crazy. Wall to wall people. It's got shenanigans galore, as we like to say. Um, we have 13 unique guests, headlined by Catherine Tabor and Bonnie Peace, which we're very, very excited about. It's just such a great lineup. Very, very stoked. Some great ILMers, some great behind the scenes people, a lot of animations. We have 4 animated Leias if you look closely on this
Yes.
page too, which is pretty awesome. In that we have people from Ahsoka, we have people from the entire Filoniverse, we have people from the original trilogy, we have people who were involved in Star Trek.
Yeah.
If you're a trucker, people who are involved in Spaceballs, people involved in Ghostbusters, because we're all multi-franchise, fans here. So excited about these guests. I can say, since it's been announced by this date that you're just being released, is that all the Leias, which are Catherine Tabor, Anna Graves, Misty Lee, Julie Dolan, along with Bonnie Peace, will be signing at Rebel Scum Con on Saturday and Sunday. And Don Danger and Tamara Carlson Woodard from Team Grogu will be signing on Saturday morning of Rebel Scum Con. And the rest of them will be in panels throughout the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
So, but the ladies of Leia, or as we call them, the Daughters of the Galaxy, which are going to have their own panel at Celebration, the 4 Leias will be, and Bonnie Peace will be signing at Rebel Scum Con in the VCN Pavilion, in the same place that we were last year, across from the Order 66 tables and all that. So it's gonna be great. With some incredible sponsors. I want to big quick shout out to NH Lasik Associates, Toink, and Shinobi IT. But we're just it's such a great time, man. I mean, we're going to have live band karaoke again, which if you were there last year, you saw that Matthew Wood and Dave W. Collins sang Youngie Wim for the first time ever with a live band.
Yeah.
We're going to have 2 surprise performances that night.
Okay.
So we're going for that. We're going to have sabacc tables, courtesy of Hyperspace Props again. We got, we expanded our drink menu, so it's going to have a lot more themed drinks, including some drinks that were actually designed for us from Scum and Villainy Cantina in Hollywood. Because we're good friends involved with the new Rendezvous location that's going to be in Burbank, that's opening at the end of this year before Celebration. And we're gonna have a massive booth this year. It's gonna be multimedia. It's gonna be huge. We're very excited about that. Our presence has doubled since last year, Rebel Scum Con, and I think it's indicative of the work we did to help promote Rebel Scum Con last year. We were very much involved behind the scenes, promoting and working with the guys to get that show as good as it possibly could get. And we joked that we couldn't turn around without running into a VCN member at that con. At Celebration, it could be difficult because you got 150 versus 10,000. So, man, I mean, you were there. Boonta is something you have to experience. There's FOMO if you don't go.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about it a little bit, and I'm slightly biased because for anybody that's watched this show knows that I've been friends with the crew at Rebel Scum Con for quite a while now, and they are some of the best at what they do, and you've talked about it a little bit, but just working with them and the working relationship that VCN now has with RSC, I have to imagine that just makes you guys so ready for what is coming, not only this year but however many years going forward?
So I can tell you right now is that after last year, we signed a 2-year contract with Rebel Scum. So we are at least signed through 27 to do shows. But Rebel Scum Con is getting involved in other events that we are involved with over the next year as well. Comes to mind right now, we announced it a couple of weeks ago, is Boonta Eve Special Edition Rhode Island Comic Con is happening this year. The Rebel Scum guys are coming up for that, and that's a massive show. That's a massive Star Wars presence at that show. And we're running the after party. We're going to have 8 guests that we're going to announce after Rebel Scum because we don't want to confuse people. But we're bringing in DJ Elliott to be our main stage DJ for Boonta. Yeah. So we're excited about that. And we already announced that Boonta Eve 5, the VCN Strikes Back, will be on March 31st, 2027. Tickets and the location won't be announced until Black Friday this year, so November 26th. But I have said that it will be on the world-famous Sunset Strip on Hollywood Boulevard at one of the big clubs there, and there's about 10 big clubs that are known on that strip. It's one of those. Which is a good 20 minutes away from where the LA Convention Center is going to be. But I'm telling you right now, you're not going to want to miss out on any of our events. I can tell you right now, as we're taping this, it might be different when this airs, but we're closing in on 75% sold out of Boonta, Texas already.
Yeah.
To the point where we spoke with the people at the Revel is we're going to institute something that we institute at Celebration, and it's called the Hyperspace Standby Line. Is that as soon as the VIPs go in, the signage for the VIPs is going to disappear and the hyperspace sign is going to go down. Once a general mission line goes in, the hyperspace line will be starting to be allowed into the building. So we're going to get everybody that's on the standby line into the event. So we might be a pre-sale sellout before we even hit ground in Texas, but doesn't mean you're not going to get into Boonta. So please plan to be at the Revel. You know, there's Hitchens that's right there, right next door if you want to grab a bite before while you wait for the line to go down a little bit or just, hang out. But Karen, you were there. It's something you want. If you were staying back at your house or the hotels and you heard about the next day, I've been like, man, I wish I was there for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I'm having a hard time finding words just because, it's, and I want to talk about the guest this year because yes. I want to know, and this is always so interesting to me, what goes into the guest selection? I don't know how much you may be involved in actually picking the guest, but
I am 100% involved in picking the guests. I'm the one who making the contracts and talking to the agents. And luckily, a lot of the agents are the same agents that are involved with Rebel Scum Con, so it's friends at this point. Luckily, one of the guys who works at the VCN is a gentleman by the name of Mark Von Olen, who works for NECA, Rubies, and Duo Novo. But before he was with them, he was a brand manager for Topps Authentics. Yeah. And he ran the autograph hall for Star Wars Celebration in 2019. So Mark was involved. He was the booker for Celebration 19. He now is involved as an admin and the programming director of the VCN. So Mark has his Rolodex of people, and he's a dear friend of mine. So we work in tandem.
Yeah.
And one of the ideas he had for the 2020 celebration was to get all the Leias together. And that included Shelby Young, which I can tell you the day before we launched our announcement, Shelby canceled. We had Shelby for 5 Leias for
Yeah.
this year. So that's where it started. And it started that we were going to get the Leias. Because that was a dream Mark had for Celebration before he got furloughed during COVID.
Yeah.
So that started that. And then it started with like, okay, well, Kentucky, tell me what your theme is going to be, what you're looking for. You know, I want it to be an experience where people can go to Rebel Scum Con and be like, man, I need to add more to my poster. You know, like I have to go to Boonta just to get these people. So it just got the ball rolling. I knew with the movie, Don Dinger and Tamara were heavily involved with the movie for Mandalorian Grogu. If you saw the clip from the Oscars, there was a viral picture of someone, they said, stealing Grogu after the Kate Hudson. That was Dawn.
Yeah.
And Tamara was also Max Rebo in the Book of Boba Fett, which and also was the creator and the puppeteer for Merle the Lothcat.
Yes.
So I wanted them to get their flowers, you know, because they were not going to be a con.
Yeah.
And then I started working around, you know, talking to people. Paul Darnell is a dear friend of mine. Bonnie Peace lives in Austin.
Oh, really?
So she just moved over from Portugal, and I'm very, very good friends with her rep. And I'm like, you know, she hasn't been on a U.S. show in a while. I mean, I don't think since, I want to say, Rhode Island 2019.
Yeah.
Was the last time she did a U.S. show. She should get her love from the Baru crew from Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I was like, let's get that. Stuart Ziff was an interesting one because I think it was during the VCN senior management retreat last year after Rebel Scum Con. The senior team, we all went to San Francisco to tour Lucasfilm, and we got to go on the ranch. You know, we got a tour from Matt Wood. So yeah, I like to use that as a bragging point that I got a tour of the ranch from Matt Wood.
Yeah.
Gerald Grievous. So thanks to Rebel Scum Con, because that's how I connected talking to Matt about that. But they started promoting Stuart's documentary on Instagram.
Yes.
And he's a legend in the field. He ran the ghost shop for Ghostbusters 84. Yeah. He did all the original Star Wars movies. He was involved with, if you saw the original Master of the Universe movie from 1987, he built the Cosmic Key for that. You know, so he's been involved so long. And I'm like, man, he's not really done a show. He did Monster Palooza in LA. So I reached out to him, and literally, as I'm getting ready to go out to a VCN meetup in San Francisco, he calls my cell phone, and we brokered the deal for him to come to Boonta to help him with his documentary and to go from there. So that's where that came from. And then Kirk Thatcher is a character in himself. He was involved in Return of the Jedi as far as creation for ILM. But if you're a Trekkie and love Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, and remember the scene on the bus where there's a skater punk, listen to punk music, and after he wouldn't turn off the music, Spock gives him the Vulcan neck pinch. That was Kirk. And not only did Kirk perform that song, he wrote that song, but he reprised that character in Picard and Lower Decks as well. Yeah. So a lot of thought process does go into where we're going. Anna was obviously at Boonta last year for us. Yes. But we're like, she's a Leia. Yeah. She had an amazing time. And she was also honestly the catalyst that said, hey, if we can talk to Anna, she wanted to come back in some capacity. I was like, let's get her with the Leias. And then maybe do a Leia panel, you know, and this would be uplifting for the females demographic of Star Wars, which is so prevalent in this society and in times like right now. And Leia was such a inspiring character for young women going back now 50 years into sci-fi, if you will, between Leia and obviously want to talk about, Ellen Ripley, if you want to go Sigourney, who's now a Star Wars actress in her own right. So a lot of things go through my mind, as far as booking that. And then like I said, like, okay, we have less restrictions around Celebration because in Celebration, I can't touch anybody that's signed to do Celebration.
Sure.
I can't double dip.
Yeah.
So I have to finagle a way to find out if certain people are going to be at Celebration or not. And if they're not, say, hey, do you want to do Boonta?
Yeah.
And go that route. Rhode Island, it's our first time there, and our theme is Into the Grogu-verse.
Yes.
So, I am very much thinking, and I'm pretty booked for that right now. A couple of spots I would like to fill up, but it's really Filoni-verse-esque, but it's all Filoni-verse at this point, Grogu-verse, if you will.
Yeah.
But I don't mind bringing similar people to different locations because there's going to be minimum crossover except for Celebration, like Rebel Scum Con.
Sure.
But there are people who didn't get one at one and didn't get the other, and there's no such thing as too much Star Wars, and a lot of thought process goes into it. I'm already thinking. I mean, Kentucky will tell you he's already thinking about Rebel Scum next year.
Oh yeah.
We're already thinking about Rebel Scum next year, and we have a theme in mind.
Yeah.
And I can tell you is that Mark and myself are going to a small con in Connecticut before San Diego Comic-Con this year to talk to one person in particular that we can't get a hold of. Oh. And if we hit this one person, we know our theme for next year for Rebel Scum Con, because this will be the catalyst of what we want to do. And if we can't get it, we're going a completely different route. And we were trying to go for this route this year, but couldn't get this one person.
Okay.
So we're like, if we can, I'll drive 3 hours to have a 5-minute conversation and get a phone number to try to book somebody. And that's when the Leia idea came through, because we're like, well, you want to do this and you want to do this other idea. We can 100% do the Leia's now. So let's go ahead and do it. And it's been great. And it's been great for not only us, but also for the fandom and even for the talent, because Boonta's got a reputation of people going to have fun. And it's chaotic. It's fast paced. It's a different vibe than any convention you're going to go to, because there's another person literally staying right behind you to get into the autograph room or anything like there, and you got time to talk, but you also boom, 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 boom. It's loud. You're right next to another bar. But we love the chaos. I thrive in chaos, and I love it. We say no sleep till Boonta, because there is no sleep till Boonta, but thanks to our Scottish friends that came to Boston most recently, hey, no Boonta, no party.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I love so much about events like Boonta and about events like Rebel Scum Con. Because even some of these, I don't want to call them smaller guests, but guests that may have not had as much screen time, or some of the ILMers, or some of these people that don't even get their flowers at something like Celebration, because as big as Celebration is, you're going to have your Haydens, you're going to have your Ewans, your Anthony Daniels, your Diegos, So getting to go to events where some of these people that are behind the scenes people, or the voice actors or things like that, can really feel that appreciation from the fans is really cool to see.
And there's been also times, there's been at least 3 times in the last 2 years that I've been in contact with somebody for Boonta, and Kentucky would call me and say, hey, I'm working on this thing. What's your thoughts? And I'm like, you have my blessing. So they moved from Boonta to Rebel Scum Con, because it just made sense. And it's not about ego. It's about what the best experience is going to be, not only for the talent, because I'll get them again in another time, but also for the fandom. So the situations that, like I said, we work very well together, and between Kentucky and I, as far as booking is concerned. And it was the same way with Cantina in London. They ran an event similar to us. Like I mentioned, they're going to do something in LA, where they actually had signers, not at Celebration, signing at their event. I'm really good friends with the guy who runs it. And we were in contact with booking the entire time to make sure that people had a unique experience at Celebration, at Boonta, at Cantina, at Rebel Scum Con that you can't get everywhere from there. Now, luckily, the relationship that I have with the guys, they allowed me a space at Rebel Scum Con that I could sweeten the pot in my dealings with some of the actors to say, hey, we want you to do Boonta, and you're going to do Boonta first.
Yeah.
But I can get you a day or so at the con. And that's really is about that's done purposely so I have something to negotiate with to try to get I want to say a higher caliber of talent, but there might be some talent that might be hesitant about doing a bar event.
Sure.
It's jarring. You know, they want to be on the floor. I get 100%. So the guys gave me an opportunity to have that. And we listened to the fans that might have been a little upset that we didn't announce until the day of last year of who our talent is.
Yeah.
You know, we thought we were doing the right thing. It wasn't the right thing at the end of the day, but we listened, you know, and we announced our talent on July the 1st, saying, hey, these seven women, mind you, will be signing at Rebel Scum Con over the weekend in various capacities on Saturday and Sunday. But the rest of the talent are Boonta exclusives, and you only get them at Boonta. So if you want to wait for those seven and their lines for Rebel Scum Con, that's completely cool. But don't miss out on Boonta because honestly, it is worth the $35 to come in just for the experience alone. I don't want to hear when people say that it wasn't worth the experience. You came for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you did. You came for the great. I'm happy we're there. But if you felt that was we upset you, my bad. We thought we were doing the right thing. We fixed it. But there's gonna be somebody else who wants your ticket.
Fair. Yeah, and I mean,
straight up. I mean, I'm not angry about it. You know, the consumer has a right to be upset about something, and we who are putting on the shows, whether it be Rebel Scum Con or the VCN, we have our reasons why we do certain things, and if it's not the right reason by the fandom, we're going to change it, and that's fine. But I could tell you that we market our events to FOMO. So if you're afraid of FOMO, there's no reason why you shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, there's gonna be viral moments like last year with Youngie Wim. They're gonna be like, man, I wish I was in that room. Because it's electric.
Yeah, and I mean, I was really happy, you know, when you brought some of the guests over last year because I got to have, and I don't know if this conversation contributed to him ending up coming on my show or not, but I got to have a really good conversation with Marty Matulis, who has been on this show now, and it's a really Marty's so cool.
He's the best.
Great. It's great talking to him about not only just the Star Wars stuff that he's done, but to the point now where I can be watching a movie and see this weird creature walk on screen, pause it, send him a picture, and be like, "Hey, man, is this you?" And he'll message me back and be like, "Yep, that's me."
Great story about Marty. So after season 3 of Mandalorian, we did one of our watch-alongs, which we bring an actor on to watch Star Wars property. Most recently, we had Bonnie Peace. Anna Graves is coming on. We have Paul Darnell coming on shortly. So we had Marty to come on to talk about Vane.
Yes.
And then off the air, he said, oh, I'm coming to Celebration in London.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you a guest? He's like, no, I have a ticket. I'm like, you want to do a signing? He's like, I've never done a signing. I'm like, do you want to do a signing? He's like, you know, it subsidizes your trip. You got, you know, a couple extra, you know, pounds in your pocket. And he's like, yeah, sure. So his first signing ever was Boonta Eve in London. He was the only American who signed at that event, by the way.
Yeah.
He walked around the floor at Celebration London with a Vane t-shirt and no one knew who he was.
Yeah.
Like we were walking around with him in London, and people were talking to me with that. I'm like, "Oh yeah, did you watch season 3? Yeah, that's Vane." Wait, what? Like he's like, "What are you trying to do?" I'm like, "Hey, no one knows if it's you because you're in the makeup." I did that in Japan as well. I was standing in line to get into one of the panels, and I'm like, "Hey, do you see Skeleton Crew? Yeah, yeah. See, I got that. That's Vane." He was like, blowing his spot while he's trying to be a fan.
Yeah.
But Marty's the best. Marty is just such a great guy. I've done several shows with Marty. I'm going to be doing more in the future with him, which I'm very excited about. He's a friend at this point. But no, I'm glad that you had that opportunity to chat with Marty. He's the best. But like I said, there has not been a person that I've worked with that I have not liked, and the ones that I like and I think are great, you know, I might use them for another show. It's all about the right thing. Not one talent is right for any particular show. It's just all about things. So I have shows coming up that certain talent are not right for what we're doing, but doesn't mean that they might not be right for another project we're doing now. I got an actor right now who I utilized in Anaheim in 22 that I was like, I don't have a place for him in the future stuff, but then we're doing it in Rhode Island. I'm like, that's actually a good location for them. And I have a good relationship with them and say, hey, this project might not be good for you, but I got this one from there. So it's all about the interpersonal relationships, because the great thing about cons like Rebel Scum Con is that back in the day, in my generation at least, the holy trinity of Harrison, Mark, and Carrie were unattainable to reach and to touch.
Sure.
Now there's so many people involved in Star Wars in various capacities that we get to have these conversations that we kind of feel as fans one step away from being actually in the Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's pretty awesome. And especially when you also become friends with them and, be able to, grab a meal with them or chat, or they're coming to hang out at your house or whatever. The fact is that, or coming on your podcast, the fact is that they're as much fans as we are.
For sure.
And they got to play in the sandbox.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I got to talk to Marty for like 30 minutes. And, he was on the show and his episode was like over an hour, but we spent like 45 minutes just talking about the volume.
The volume is, everybody talks about it was great. I mean, I went to see the movie in what was called the IMAX Dome, which is basically like a planetarium.
Yeah.
And when I went to the hyperspace scenes, I could only imagine that was like what it was like in the volume.
Yeah.
So, to me, I was geeking out, as far as that was concerned. But, listen, I can sing the praises about what we do, because I'm proud. I'm honestly proud of what we do. Yeah. But I'm very, very proud of what the guys at Rebel Scum Con are doing, because it's something very, very special. I go to cons often, and this is something different. This is incredible, and I can't wait to be back with you and everybody in Frisco. My wife doesn't go to cons. She doesn't like going to cons, but she had fun at Rebel Scum last year. Yeah. And to me, I get to bring her to see, like, this is the other side of me that you just hear about, or screaming at me that I'm too loud, on a podcast from the other room. Like I just got a text message about. But she gets to see. It saved my life. I was a kid who was always looking for community, and I found it in Star Wars. Yeah. And the last couple of jobs I've gotten, because I honestly, my day jobs, I actually work in events and marketing for events as my day job.
Yeah.
So I do it for fun, and I do it to pay the bills. And my work with the VCN directly contributed to me getting hired for the last couple of jobs that I've done.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about what the next 10 years is going to show, or beyond that. But this is also something that I want to put out to everybody. It's never too late to find yourself and to find your tribe. Find your tribe. Yeah. And VCN is a tribe for those lost souls within the Star Wars fandom, or someone who felt that they never belonged.
Yeah.
We want to contribute to, you feeling great about yourself and hanging out with people that you love to and travel with us. We have people who traveled to to Rebel Scum Con last year with us just because we said we were going to have a presence at the con.
Yeah.
And now they're friends with Kentucky and the guys, and they hang out, and we all should be helping each other.
Yeah.
The content creators, I hate the word, and excuse me for saying this, influencers. I think it's a horrible word.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
No, content creators is a great word. Podcasters, vloggers. No one is bigger than Star Wars than George Lucas. So all of us contributing to that. And if any of us think that we're bigger than Star Wars, we really need our head examined. So the opportunity for us to actually take our Millennium Falcon or X-Wing into the sandbox ourselves and maybe, get them roughed up a little bit, maybe even also gain that original Kenner toy signed by Jim Swearingen, kind of scenario. Or behind you got that Razor Crest, which if you got the stand this year, you can get Brendan, you can get Lateef. John Goodson, who was the creator and the model maker for the Razor Crest, is going to be there. And I can tell you the first person who brings me the signed stand of Brendan, Lateef, and Goodson at Boonta will get a blue milk on me.
Okay.
I'm giving it some of that challenge. It has to be the stand of the Razor Crest, because I'm not expecting you to take off a panel from there. I do know somebody who took off the panels of the Ghost to get Taylor to sign last year. And I'm like, why did you do that? The stand. If you get 3 of them to sign the stand and you bring it to me at Boonta and you're the first person, I will buy you a wretched blue milk. Or if you don't drink, I'll buy you a Grogu's grog. So I can't say how excited I am for the fandom to have something like Rebel Scum Con, because not everybody can go to Celebration, not everybody can afford to go to Celebration, and it's an investment.
Yeah.
But any con's an investment.
Yeah.
But if you can't handle Rebel Scum, can't handle Celebration, or you can't afford Celebration, there's nowhere better to go for a pure Lucasfilm show. And I'm saying Lucasfilm as far as Star Wars because this year they got people from Young Indiana Jones and fanboys there.
Yeah.
So it's a Star Wars adjacent. So I'll just say Lucasfilm show.
Yeah.
You're not going to find any place better than Rebel Scum Con. And you're going to want to come and hang out with us at Boonta, because Boonta is an experience by itself. And without talking about it, you can't explain it unless you go.
Yeah, and I mean, I heard somebody said this last year, so I can't take credit for this. I don't know who said it. I wish I could remember, but I can't. Somebody said about Rebel Scum Con last year, and I think it applies not only to Rebel Scum Con, but I think it also applies very greatly to the VCN and everything that you guys are doing. It's where fandom becomes family. And somebody said that about Rebel Scum Con last year. I don't remember who it was, so I'm not going to take credit for that. But I think
I did say something like that on the stage last year at Boonta. I did say we don't have friends everywhere. We have family everywhere. And if you come to the booth at Rebel Scum Con, the VCN booth, our backdrop under our logo actually says we have family everywhere on it. And we mean that, because the VCN family and the Rebel Scum family are intertwined into the family of friendship and love that we have that is called Star Wars. And it's bigger than any one Facebook group or convention out there.
Yeah.
And if we can help people join the galaxy, all the more fun for the rest of us, because we have lifelong friends at that point.
Yeah. I got a couple more questions for you, and
Please.
These are going to be rapid fire. But your favorite Star Wars movie? I think you said it earlier, but I'll ask again.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Mine too, so I can't argue with you. Favorite of all the shows, because we've gotten so many now. They've been pumping out shows like crazy.
I like them all for various reasons.
Yeah.
there's nothing like Mandalorian season 1. I would flat out say because you did not know where you're going there. As a pure selfish geeky, Ahsoka, because I love the World Between Worlds Mortis arc, and we know we're going towards Mortis for season 2, so that makes me very happy as a Rebels fan.
Oh,
But I would absolutely say season 1 of Mandalorian.
yeah. Favorite character?
Kylo Ren.
Okay, that's cool. You don't hear that nearly as often as you should.
Funny thing is that so I was on the stage at Celebration in London doing one of the pre-show games on stage with DJ Elliott, and they asked me that question, and some people cheered, and then people who I met, friends of mine, when I got off the stage, I ran into the hall with like, really? You've been a fan since '77, and your favorite character is Kylo Ren? Growing up, I was always a Han Solo fan. But
Yeah,
Kylo Ren was a flawed villain from the beginning, and you saw he was troubled. And as someone who comes from a theater background, I'm like, as a character study, that's awesome.
yeah.
So yeah, and my wife even loves Kylo Ren too. So yeah,
I underappreciated in my opinion.
yep.
But favorite lightsaber?
The staple gun, Ezra's V1.
Yeah,
I got that signed from Taylor last year at Rebel Scum Con.
that's a again something underrated. That's a really unique one that I think gets forgotten
It,
about.
it needs a legacy. It needs a legacy version. It doesn't need the $25 version that you can get at Galaxy's Edge.
Yes, yes. We have Starfighter coming up. We have Ahsoka season 2 coming up. We have Dave Filoni's movie and so many other things that are announced, rumored, pipelined, whatever you want to call it. What of all the upcoming Star Wars projects kind of has piqued your interest?
Honestly, all of them. And the reason I'm going to say all of them is because I'm part of that, what we call as the dark times of the 16 years of when we had nothing.
Yeah.
We're never going to have nothing ever again. So bring me back to the theaters. Mandalorian Grogu was the perfect popcorn summer movie to get us back in the theaters. And it didn't have to be anything more than what it was. A lot of people probably try to say that it didn't change the saga. Not everything has to change the saga. It could just be a great experience to get you back in the theaters. And we've not been in the theaters, what, 9 years at this point? So I'm excited for whatever. I mean, I was in the room when they made the announcement for Starfighter last in Japan, with Gosling and Sean Levy, and being a fan of Deadpool Wolverine, I'm stoked. I want to see if Hugh Jackman or Ryan Reynolds end up as a voice of a creature in that, because directors seem to like to do that. JJ did that. Ryan Johnson did that. Bring their friends into their project. Robert Rodriguez brought Danny Trejo into
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett, made him the Rancor Keeper. It's almost
Yeah.
like Sam Raimi bringing Bruce Campbell to do a cameo.
Yeah.
At this point. So I'm excited for anything, man, because it gives us content.
Yeah.
On the VCN, but gives us content to expand our minds and expand the universe. I mean, is there something in every Star Wars that I can, other than The Empire Strikes Back, that I think I can pick out something I don't like? Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it again.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing that like Visions is not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it for what it is.
Sure.
But I mean, this is controversial as well. But I am a proud flag bearer of The Last Jedi. I absolutely adore that movie.
Yeah.
And I respect the hell out of Ryan Johnson for what he did.
Yeah.
So, that's a controversial too. But then also, I found that after a while, I was defending that movie so much that I was getting exhausted to the point where I was like, man, like what you like.
Yeah.
Don't like what you don't like. It's all cool. But, just love Star Wars, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, my thing that I always like, because I'm growing to the point where I'm known on the internet as the guy that's too positive about everything.
Sure.
If there's something that I like less than something else, I'm just not going to talk about it. Like,
that's fine.
But my thing always is, to me, every new Star Wars thing that comes out is the opportunity to create new fans. And the more fans we have, the more conversations we get to have, like the one that me and you are having right now, and that will never not be a win for me.
So, interesting story right there. So, back in the day, and I keep on saying this, I was a prequel hater.
Yeah.
When I went to Star Wars Celebration 2019 and saw the love that Ahmed Best got, and this was the first show back, I actually said to myself, I need to get over myself because it's not my Star Wars anymore.
Yeah.
It was the prequel kids were the parents that were at Celebration that year.
Yeah.
It's their Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I went home after Chicago and rewatched the prequels with new eyes. Like I was watching for the first time again.
Yeah.
And I watched every property since then saying, I have the things I love. I love the original trilogy. I'm always going to love the original trilogy. I love season 7 of Clone Wars. I love Rebels.
Yeah.
I love Mandalorian. But that's somebody else's entry point.
Yeah.
Into Star Wars.
Yeah.
Who am I in any capacity as a person or as somebody who is a content creator to tell someone else, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Dislike it. It's kind. It's okay. Just be an adult.
Yeah.
Listen, I love to say the story. George Lucas started these stories in 1977 as a catalyst to tell stories to the 12-year-old kids from the Vietnam War era, like the baby boomer kids.
Yeah.
If we're middle age arguing about a kid's property, what have we done with our lives, man?
We're doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So why can't we enjoy it for what it is?
Yeah.
And enjoy what's coming on because the stories are still being told. It's the Jedi texts,
Yeah.
That's really the Jedi archives, it's Jacasta Nu, over on Coruscant. It's a wonderful thing that we have right now to have as much content as we do.
Yeah. Now, talking about what's already come out and what we already know is coming, a different question for you. We recently had a leadership change at Lucasfilm. We now have Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan in charge of Lucasfilm. If they were to come to you and say, we need a new idea for Star Wars, it can be a book, a movie, a television show, animated, live action, a casting choice that you really want to see, whatever you say you want to see happen in the world of Star Wars right now in the next 90 seconds, Lucasfilm is going to make it happen no matter what. What's the one thing that would be your dream pitch for Star Wars?
No more Skywalkers.
Okay. No more Skywalkers.
Skywalkers. The galaxy's big enough for outside the Skywalker saga. We don't need to be adding a last name for the sake of adding a last name to Rey. She doesn't have to be a Kenobi. She doesn't have to be a Palpatine. She could be nobody and be okay with that. The Force is big enough. One of the things I loved about Last Jedi was that last scene with Broom Boy.
Mm.
That was us playing with our action figures and pulling a broom or a bat or a paper towel roll and being a lightsaber for us.
Yeah.
That was us.
Yeah.
The galaxy's big enough for all these stories. I adored Andor. Season 1 and Season 2. Season 2 is amazing. But I love Season 1 because you couldn't get to Season 2 without Season 1 in there. And I know that's controversial. But you don't need a Skywalker to have a good story. Mandalorian brought in a Skywalker. Okay, you brought in Luke. All right. I'll honestly say that when I saw Red 5 in the Season 2 finale, I was like, oh, damn, they went for the low-hanging fruit, didn't they? It was too easy. It was too easy. Couldn't have been Mace Windu. Like, couldn't have been Trapper Wolf, and you had Dave Filoni coming to save Grogu. Like, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah. It
didn't have to be Luke, but it was awesome that it was Luke. Don't get me wrong. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I don't need another Skywalker. I would like to hear, personally, I would like the new Jedi Order story to come in and have the students of Rey without Rey being there.
Okay.
You know, the teachings of Luke and the teaching of Rey, but they don't have to be there. Don't even have to be alluded. But the fact is that I don't need a Skywalker at all to enjoy Star Wars. I just want a good story and to be immersed and to have that glimmer in my eye that I had, or being scared out of my wits like I was in 1980 during Empire Strikes Back again, as much as possible.
Yeah.
And to experience those moments with my friends and my family.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. So that's what I would say to them about if I was given a pitch for any sort of future content, because I would say you don't need a Skywalker to get someone to walk through the door.
Yeah. I am leaning more towards agreeing with you as the days go on. But the one of the last questions is, obviously we're talking about Star Wars. The VCN is surrounded by Star Wars. Rebel Scum Con is all about Star Wars. What are some fandoms and movies and shows and stuff that you enjoy outside of Star Wars?
The funny thing about that, I joke all the times, is that everything from my particular childhood, which I'm a child of the 80s, is popular again. I love the Karate Kid, so obviously I love Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah.
I love the Back to the Future trilogy. I love most of Indiana Jones. There's one movie that we don't talk about. It's like the Rocky Five. We don't talk about that either.
Yeah.
I'm getting back into watching the Filmation original He-Man cartoons from the 80s because I really enjoyed the new movie. As a fan of the cartoon, it was like watching the cartoon in live action. That's how it was written for my generation. But I was a fan back of the 87 Dolph Lundgren movie as well. So I enjoy all that. As you can see, actually, right behind me, I have the Karate Kid. It's a sign from the 1984 All Valley tournament. It's a final scene signed by Ralph Macchio and William Zabka on that. I love Disney movies. I loved going to Disney, and not just for Star Wars. I was going to Disney often, even without Galaxy's Edge. Now Galaxy's Edge is always just like I have to go because if I'm anywhere near the property, I need to stop in. I love Marvel. I enjoy I enjoy any fandom that I can actually get really involved with. No more so obviously than the Star Wars community, but I've gone to every Marvel movie opening weekend kind of scenario because it's happening either way. But my love for the Star Wars saga has intensified because of the VCN.
Yeah. Personally, you bring up Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, I have to just pull this out.
Amazing.
I love karate. I mean, I'm obviously not a child of the '80s. I kind of wish I was, but Back to the Future and Indiana Jones and Karate Kid are all some of the bigger ones for me as well as Marvel. But
Of course.
tell us about where we can find everything that's going on, what's coming up in maybe the immediate future for you, for VCN, for Boonta. Shout it all out.
Absolutely. So obviously you can go to our website, which is www.virtualcantinanetwork.com. Also, you have our Facebook group. Now, if you're looking for us, you can type in Virtual Cantina Network, or you can look for the Star Wars Celebration Los Angeles 2027 fan page, which has over 103,000 members to date, creeping in on 104. We're on LinkedIn, we're on X, where we have youtube.com/@ Virtual Cantina Network. But really the Facebook page is the best hub for everything we do. Everything goes through there. Everything we do goes through there because that's where we came from. And that's where we're going to be for the not so distant future. But that's where you get all the information about all of our Boontas. Like I said, we are right now working on 3, maybe 4 Boontas, if you want to include 27 Rebel Scum. but we're creeping up towards Boonta Eve Texas 2, The Electric Boogaloo, which is a reference to an 80s movie. And if you get that reference, it's time to get your colonoscopy or your eyes checked. But very excited about that. And obviously, we're going to be at Rhode Island Comic Con this year with Boonta Eve Rhode Island, Into the Grogoverse, and then all of our announcements, including our event at Scum and Villainy Rendezvous during Celebration Week, as well as Boonta 5. So a lot of really, really great stuff. And we do it because we love to hang with the VCN family.
Yeah. So, guys, make sure it's on the screen now. If there are still any available, we're at 75% sold out as of the recording of this video. Probably more than that by the time it actually airs. But you can scan the QR code on the screen to buy tickets for Boonta Eve Texas 2 if you are going to be in Frisco, Texas for Rebel Scum Con, which, by the way, follow Rebel Scum Con. If you're not already following Rebel Scum Con, please follow them. Be at Rebel Scum Con because you will not want to miss out on that. You can also follow the Virtual Cantina Network for everything that they're doing around Rebel Scum Con, Rhode Island Comic Con, and Celebration LA, and everything else that they're doing. And if you haven't already, follow Limitless Nerd, subscribe here on YouTube, and we are going to keep having new episodes, at least up until Rebel Scum Con as of the recording of this video. After that, we'll see. We're full steam ahead for Celebration after Rebel Scum Con. So, Spencer, thank you so much for coming on and talking about VCN and Boonta and Rebel Scum Con and everything Star Wars. It's been awesome having you on.
Cameron, thank you so much. And keep on doing what you're doing. I know you launched this right after Rebel Scum Con last year, and man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing some great work, and we're proud of you. We're happy to have you as a member of our VCN family.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I will be partying with you all weekend at Rebel Scum Con and Celebration. But until then, may the Force be with all of you.
And also with you.